So okay, Westwood and I just had a great show. We're so glad you guys could join us.
It's been great. We loved it. Happy hour.
So
Trust yourselves.
Great happy hour.
Exit the Vampire Casino. Yeah. Have a drink on me.
Well, love you. No, just kidding.
And we're gone. No. What the F? All right. I'm waiting for it to come up here.
It says we have 0 viewers, though.
Is that on my channel, though?
No, on the StreamYard thing.
They're still in the chat.
Something is wrong. It kicked me out completely.
Yeah.
So somebody in the chat.
It says it's live. Well, I'm looking and I'm following the chat from the.
So my Wi-Fi totally went out at my house.
I think it is going live. Hang on.
We were on. We thought we were on. We thought we were on live.
Okay, I think we're back.
Or maybe just on.
5 by 5. They live. Okay, we're good. The chat. I see the chat. I don't know what happened.
Oh Lord,
I don't even know if it went live. I mean, but everything went to
time travel again.
It might have. What year is it? 1.21 gigawatts. I mean, that's the kind of heat that I'm getting hit with right now. Look at me. I'm just sweating like a freaking, not a pig because pigs don't sweat.
Everyone grab some Cheez-Its and a drink.
Judas Priest.
It's going to be a long night.
Need a cigar. What should I smoke?
Smoke them if you got them.
I got them.
Just don't let any puppies get ash of
certain substance.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. So yeah, we'll have a discussion about that another time.
I'm dying here.
It can be very dangerous for dogs.
Holy cow, I'm sick of this heat. I need some Sasquatch territory.
So I don't think anybody heard what we just said.
Nothing. Didn't hear a word. Missed it all.
Okay.
Well, there you have it, folks. Welcome to the world of.
We'll start over.
Yeah, we'll start over. We're talking about mug shots.
We were, but maybe we shouldn't talk about them.
Maybe that's the problem.
Wi-Fi went out.
Yeah, maybe we should just shut up about it. Just censor ourselves.
Everyone should think for yourself. Be critical thinkers. Critically thinking is very important right now. And part of just watching the movie is very important right now, too. Take it all in.
It seems like a movie. It really does. Horror movie in some cases.
But does it feel like a movie, or does it feel like, you remember those books, my favorite books growing up? Were the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah?
Yes, where you would,
and I would, okay.
Yes, I would get them, and I would and then I would be like, oh, wait, okay, I'm going to go back and re-choose.
Yes.
And so I would read them 10 different ways.
Lisa falls off a cliff. Oh, dang it. Go back.
Restart.
No, I'm going to redo that.
Yeah, redo. Mm-hmm. No, not Nancy Drew. I wasn't that old.
Yeah.
But
the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew.
No, I never read those. But I'm sorry, I was in court all day, so I'm starving to death. So I'm having Cheez-Its with my.
Yeah, you gotta have something.
Remember Everyone Deployed Red, which I did a whole spiel on it earlier.
Yeah, you missed it. We're just rehashing. We're circling back.
No, not actually. We're just catching up.
I'm just in a time loop. I think we're caught in a time loop. That's where we're at right now.
So the other night when we were on Spaces last Friday?
Last Friday? Okay.
That was super weird. Where I think it was just me, and I think Charlie G got booted one time and had to come back.
I don't know what happened there. It just ended.
That was really weird. And then it just
live.
Looping around. So it was very weird.
Awesome. Yeah, we live. All right, I'm just posting here.
So crazy week. I just heard driving home from downtown that
Clint kicked me.
I heard a very strange statement that what's the guy's name that the prosecutor to get Biden?
Jack Smith or something, or Jack?
No. If you don't fire the prosecutor, then you don't get the $1 billion. That Sleepy Joe said.
That whole thing. Yeah, back in.
He was just interviewed by some mainstream media, and they said that they had to get permission from the White House to interview him, and they had to get a translator. And all this is, real time in the last few hours being released. And he did say that the Bidens were bribed, and he did say that it was, all this stuff. And he said,
all the things.
all the things that he said, and that, Biden was using the Americans' money to protect his son and all this. And he actually said that no one's ever asked him for an interview, and that he's been poisoned twice since then, and he's worried for his life. And so he's trying to get his story out to at least get the information out before he's killed.
This is freedom, folks. This is freedom.
Why would no one ask for him for an interview after he was fired?
Booted. This guy was like a top prosecutor over there, very highly respected, and many awards, accolades, and then all of a sudden it's like, that son of a bitch, he got fired because that $1 billion.
And no one asked a question about it.
No, because the media is hijacked.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's part of the show. Now it's coming out when it's supposed to come out, I guess. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It makes me wonder.
Everyone should wonder.
Indeed.
These are the wonder years.
These are the wonder years.
These are the wonder years.
I just want a digibug that goes 88 miles per hour. That's all I want.
That would be great.
Yeah, well, it does. I just, last time I tried it, I ended up in Oklahoma, and I don't know how I got there. I don't even know what year it was.
It was this year.
Still, these cowboys, walking around like
it was this year.
Time warp. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was good
stuff. Goodness. I'm done with this heat.
I know, you're wiped out.
I don't like the heat.
I'm emotionally exhausted. You're like physically exhausted from the heat.
Drained. I passed out last night
hour.
After the show. Jeez. Oh, I almost did. It was terrible.
Oh my God, that was hilarious though.
I don't even know what I was talking about. I had too many to drink.
So the show that you're talking about, everybody should go watch, is Hash It Out on Blind Dave's channel. I jumped over there after I have a meeting. I have my show every day at 4:00 Central on which Johnny was Den.social with the girls. So he
Den.social with the ladies. The
girls. So he couldn't make it yesterday. But I did have a meeting, a very important meeting. But then I was able to make it and jump on the live chat for part of it. And Steak was just on fire. He was
railing. He was getting well done, man. Flame broiled.
Oh God, it was hilarious.
I know.
Which I know it's much later there.
I know. Yeah. So he's gets time to work himself up into it. Mm-hmm. Me, a few drinks out in the heat, when I'm sweating and the heat index is 115, and I'm slurping down cocktails.
Does it get hot in London or wherever he is?
I don't think so. It's London fog. There's a whole company about it. That's foggy all the time. No, he's in the Netherlands, the nether regions, the Netherlands. In hell.
Oh. No, it's probably hell. Hot there.
It's like the sea. It's on the ocean, whatever it is, the North Sea or something over there. So I think it keeps it moderate. It's pretty far north in the latitude, so I think it's pretty mild.
I cannot wait to be able to like that's the thing. Like I can't wait to be able to do meetups like that.
Let's go to the Netherlands. I think that's one of the seats of power. I mean, when you're talking about the EU and that kind of thing.
Oh, really?
And the ancient, not ancient, but the royalty, and I think that's one of the hot spots, so to speak.
The new royalty, or the old royalty, or why do we need royalty?
Are we talking reptilians, or are we talking? What are we talking
I'm
about?
just so over the whole lording over people.
It ticks me off so much. When I see these people just sycophanting over and just drooling over the royal family when, the coronation of King Chuck, and it's just, give me a break. We're Americans. I mean, we revolted against this stuff because it's revolting, just to see this and to see people in America just, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? Notice you don't hear much from the royal family anymore. Kind of not a lot of news. What's going on?
I don't care.
Right.
Be gone.
Right. Be gone with you. Be gone with you.
Yeah. Be gone off with your heads. I want to hear about innovation. I want to hear about families growing.
Tell us about your experience with General Flynn.
So I posted, and I found the first. Okay, so apparently I first started recording on my phone.
Yeah.
And then that filled up or something happened. And so then I panicked and I just started going live on Twitter because
that's what I watched.
I was
watched
trying
that.
Okay, so you saw the last 2 sections, but you didn't see the first section, which is recorded on my phone, which I have to get uploaded to something. I'm going to try to get it all 3 portions put into one video, probably this weekend, and I'll put it on Patreon.
There you go.
For my patrons.
Join the Patreon. Become a patron. There's a link below.
Yeah. It helps me on the channel, and
Boots
I really
on the
appreciate
ground.
it.
General Flynn, live in Oklahoma. Lisa was there reporting.
I was there reporting, and it's also a way you can direct message me if you have any questions. You also get first dibs on all my goodies that I get when I'm out trying to save all the little treasures I find for American history and otherwise. Oh my gosh. Well, that's a distraction. I won't even go there. But saddest thing today in court, they had this courtroom has been they took the Constitution off the walls and everything's gone and it's just empty.
Gold fringes all over the flags.
It's just everything's bare. I'm like, why is the Constitution not on the wall anymore? Every time I've been in here before, it's on the wall. Why isn't it on the wall? Oh, well, they're redecorating. I was like, what do you mean they're redecorating? What the hell does that mean? Redecorating the Constitution?
I'm building back better. Building back better. I'm going to love it when we turn that phrase, and think mirror, and we actually do build back better instead of the whole sociopathic way that it's being done right now, vampiric way.
Maybe that's when we own nothing and we're happy.
Yeah. Maybe.
Anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent.
That's all right. I was about to do a biblical quote, No, I don't know where my head's
We're all over the place.
I really don't. I'm kind of.
Westwood and I are in a bad way today.
I feel like Kramer.
It's been anyway,
twitching. I'm on the spectrum.
Maybe I should jump in and retweet some tweets to get us back on the road.
I know. I'm gonna try.
Oh no, you wanted to talk about the book because you've read. Have you read it all yet?
Yeah, I'm almost done with it. I mean,
General Flynn recommended this book.
It's a great book. It really is. And I mean,
I was bothered by the word citizen.
Yeah.
Oh, on his 2 books. Okay. No, this one doesn't say citizen.
It's the doctrine of the lesser magistrates, and really, it's a concept that's been around. And this guy wrote it, Matthew Truwelha. You can get it on Amazon, if you go to those places. But yeah, just the doctrine of the lesser magistrates. The concept behind that is very good, and he gives some historical background on what that means. Well, what the heck's that mean? Doctrine of the lesser magistrates. All it means is in society, you've got people who have authority. They've got responsibility and duty, basically, to perform certain functions. And essentially, the duties of everyone who is elected or appointed and serves in government serves the people. That's what they should do. And the whole idea of this doctrine of the lesser magistrates is when you get an unjust order from above, it's your duty, if you know that it's unjust, not to follow it, is to question it, is to get in the way and say, no, I'm not going to carry this order out because it's unjust. And there's a lot of illustrations throughout history, and there's one that I like. It's just a real short passage on page 2. I'll read it real quick. Just as an historical example. Here's really what it means. The lesser magistrate doctrine declares that when the superior or higher civil authority makes unjust, immoral laws or decrees, the lesser or lower ranking civil authority has both a right and a duty to refuse to obedience to that superior authority. If necessary, the lesser authority even have the right and obligation to actively resist the superior authority. So it's your duty when given an unjust command to not follow it, is to stand in the way. And when you hear stand in the gap, you've probably heard that before. Someone needs to stand in the breach, stand in the gap. And that's the stand in the gap between tyranny and the freedom and rights of the people. Someone needs to do that, because if you don't do that, then you get mob rule. People will eventually rise up and say, okay, fine, pitchforks, whatever, we're going to hang y'all. And that's not where we need to be. The people who are in power, people who have authority, should, stop tyranny from happening before it gets too bad. And the one example that I'll read, and then that'll be into it, A memorable statement that serves as a summary for the doctrine of the lesser magistrate actually came from a higher magistrate, higher power. Roman Emperor Trajan, while appointing a subordinate authority, handed him a sword and instructed him, saying, "Use this sword against my enemies if I give righteous commands. But if I give unrighteous commands, use it against me." And that's an emperor, Trajan of Rome. And that really sums it up. It's just like, here's a sword, use it for right, use it for justice. And if I'm the guy that's, not being just and giving bad commands and being evil, then use it against me. And I think that's kind of the mentality. That's the whole doctrine is what this is. It's like we have a duty to stand up when we're in a position of authority to, hey, we got another pandemic coming out. You need to follow orders and do this. Hey, you need to block this front street, and not let people out. Well, I'm just following orders. Well, why are you blocking this so people can't get out? I'm just following orders. No, you're not just following orders. At some point, you don't follow unjust orders. We had a whole trial in Nuremberg that said, you're guilty. I don't care. You can't say you were just following orders because you're violating the rights of human beings. And at some point, somebody's got to stand up. And it doesn't matter who it is.
Take accountability.
Someone has to do it. And it's a moral and a just and a right thing to do. It's your duty to protect the people when unrighteousness is occurring. So that's kind of the whole book. And there's a lot of examples throughout history and how that doctrine developed. Starting Magna Carta was one of the big ones. The nobles said, listen, you cannot be doing this, king. We're going to force you not to do it because you are violating human rights, and forced him to sign the Magna Carta. And so that's one example of the people of lesser authority, at least, symbolically, said enough is enough. God's on our side. If you don't start listening, you're going to be a problem. And so he caved because he realized, yeah, you're right.
I was just thinking of, there's a more recent example with Trudeau's personal security.
Yes,
standing down because he said, what you're asking me to do goes against my oath to the Constitution. You're asking me to stand against my own people, and that what you're asking me to do is wrong. And so he said, you're my authority.
Arnicare is a topical pain reliever made from a flower.
Sorry.
And that's wrong. That's okay.
Okay, now I'm back.
We got swatted last week for whatever we did. It's not
really
conducive to advertisers. Not a strike, but just no
But just
funding.
A warning.
Another reason, please support my Patreon because I get swatted all of it. Because I'm a naughty girl.
I'm a naughty girl in my naughty world.
No, start singing. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be the end of it.
I know.
That will be the end of it. Yes, absolute
Crazy.
power corrupts absolutely. Same thing, concept. It's just, there has to be a check and a balance.
Before we realized we weren't live or whatever went happen, we were talking about how, poor little Hunter has been living this life, this alternative lifestyle where rules have been different for him his whole life. So he doesn't understand why he would be punished now, or why he can't take diamonds from were those from diamonds from China and money from
Moscow, Russia, mayor's wife,
yeah, something like that. Like he's like,
all these
what
places.
are you talking about? My family's been doing this all my life. Like this is how we live. Like Daddy's been in Congress longer than anyone. Like,
we've earned it.
This is how we earn it. Yeah, this is normal. And so that's part of that that's being broken right now, is that it's being exposed. And is it Shokin? Shokin, yes. The interview with Shokin that's being played out right now. I guess it's being played on mainstream media right now. And they said that he has been poisoned twice, and they had to run it through the White House for an interpreter. And that
twice. I poison myself every Friday and a few times during the week sometimes. I'm good.
It's all organic though, it's fine.
Yeah, it's organic.
It's organic. But but these people that have lived this alternative lifestyle that don't understand that, that's not how everybody plays, are now seeing these rules roll out. Anyway. Hey, did you watch Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, they're bred that way. I mean, it really is. I mean, their bloodlines have taught them that, and that's what they've come to believe. That's their reality. And again, when a psychopath or a sociopath, when you talk to them, it's like they don't think there's anything wrong with how they act.
Mm-hmm.
They think everything's, this is the normal, because that's the world they live in. And it's just, you realize that there are people out there like that, and there are people like that who are in positions of power. And that's why it's so important to stand in the breach, to stand in the gap. And when you see that happening and somebody issues an unjust order, you say, no, I'm not going to follow it, and we're going to see that again here in the next couple of months. I mean, there's a lot of that. I know here I am off on a tangent, but I've been feeling it.
It's not a tangent. It's insane.
I've been feeling it, that it's coming, and now you're starting to see it. I just watched a couple of videos on TikTok, actual nurses and people, and they're telling them, hey, get prepared. We're going to have this next wave, and we got to make room in the hospital for all the next variant that's here, and it's coming. And their school's already locking down because of it. They're already enforcing the mandates again. And at some point you have to say, okay,
no,
I'm not going to enforce this. I'm not going to let this happen. And you just don't play the game. That's just so simple. If you're a college president.
There are also nurses who have left the profession because of this. Like, I have a friend who is a nurse, and she's like, it's an assault of my intelligence and what I did go to school to be in my profession, to continue to be a part of that. And so that's really interesting to watch people walk away from that.
Yep.
As well.
And think of it as a teacher. I mean, I'm still a teacher. I'm still certified to teach. And if I were in the classroom, I couldn't abide by that. I'd lose my job if that's what it came down to. Because it's like, I cannot comply with this. I cannot enforce an unjust order, because it's not just. And it's like, hey, it is what it is. I'm not doing it. And I'm not going to have the kids do it. I won't do it. And we just got to have some backbone, because, throughout history, and that's why this book's important, throughout history, when people stand up, the leaders back off at that point, because then they're like, all right, they might be coming for us. It might be coming for me. And see, they're just as scared. And that's why they do these things, because they're scared of everybody. They're scared of the people. And that's why they want to fear you into these things, because they have no power. Because a just leader, he's not worried about these things. He's not worried about, tyrannizing people. It's the unjust leader that wants to create tyranny and fear, because they know how unstable their position is, because they know they're not on the side of righteousness. And so all it takes is for people to stand up, and the whole thing changes. Just a few people. And then everybody's empowered. They're like, yeah, right. My sheriff stood up against that crap. Yeah, I back him.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, we actually sent an email to our local sheriff. And I did some research and background, and he's, Christian, conservative, very, says constitutional. I read up on, it was really cool, on our local county sheriff page. They talk about how the office of the sheriff was formed. So there's some history there. It goes back to the Constitution. So it makes me feel like, okay, they are trying to educate the public and all this. I asked him if he was part of that sheriff's group that's constitutional sheriffs. I shared some information about that. Yeah.
Yep.
Tried to share some information about that. And if you guys are interested in that, that's also on my Patreon that you can share with your local sheriff. But very interesting, and, something that we can all kind of stand together. And a lot of this is, individual and community education. And it was really interesting when I went to the thing for General Flynn, and watching him talk, you could tell that I think there are several people that are being put out in different communities right now to kind of send messages or get the temper of general public or gen pop, and see where people are with, okay, have they had enough? Where are they? Are they ready to stand up? Are they being pointed to or led in the right direction of those tools? And we're all kind of right there, and we kind of know, and we all know where to go. We know to go to the Constitution, but have you opened it? Mine,
read it recently.
Yeah. My dad gave me one of the first things when we got red pilled was my dad gave me a copy of the Constitution, and General Flynn in the video, he says, when I show people the Constitution, I don't show it to them this way. I carry this with me everywhere because I show it to them this way. And it's literally like a
It's
little
nothing.
book,
It's
like,
thick. It's not even that
it's
thick.
like, yeah, it's like this thick.
Yeah, it's nothing. You know, the pocket
like,
constitutions that are out there, and it's like, that's not even the Constitution, all of it. I mean, most of it is like other things like jury nullification and laws, you know, and rights of the citizen. Constitution's so small. I mean, because if you have a lot of rules, there's all these loopholes and all these things to follow. But if you just highlight the main things, pretty basic, you know, they don't change. And that's why the Constitution is the way it is. And yeah.
Well, one of the things General Flynn
the IRS
said
tax
too
code's how many stacks high, right?
Well, but part of that is that if you go back to Fruit from the Poisonous Tree, is that there's so many laws on the books right now that no one could be lawful right now.
No, nobody
because
is.
You would break one of the 146 million laws or whatever. But that the Constitution is common sense. Yeah. Like it is our God-given rights. And it goes back to our truth and all of that. And that's what, you know, you can stand on.
Yep.
And that's what you would stand with be your brother's brother or your brother's keeper. You know, we don't have to lord over people. We can stand beside them. So I think that is where we're going.
See how they turn this on you, though? They'll say ignorance of the law is, you know, no excuse. And it's like, no, that's true. Ignorance of the real law is no excuse, the Constitution. But ignorance of the statute, that's how they, you know, invert it. Ignorance of the law. Well, the statutes that are out there are not the law. I mean, this is just stuff that men passed, you know, in Congress and whatever agency and, you know, all. That's not the fundamental human right law, you know, that has been passed down, you know, from ancient times to now. And so it's like, well, you know, you walk down the street and, you know, you didn't skip 3 times when you hit that intersection, you know, when it was a yellow light. So we're going to give you a ticket. You know, ignorance of the law, that's your fault. It's like, nobody can know all that crap that you guys just make up. I know the real law, and that's a violation of my rights. That's a violation of my natural human law, you know, the human rights. And so it's all skewed. It's all manipulated language.
It is. So one of the things that I thought was so crazy when I was reading about some of this stuff and learning the difference is that you can accuse someone in court. I could, oh God, what is it called? I'm not going to have all the right words. My brain's a little fried from, I had a rough day. But I could file something in court and I could say that Westwood stole my something and owes me $1 million. $1
billion.
$1 billion, yes. I'll make it $1 billion. And if Westwood did not respond to that,
it's like,
I could get a judgment
right
on that. And the judge would be like, because a judge said that, the judge is like, well, Westwood didn't come say it didn't happen. And Lisa said it did. Yeah. And so I guess it did.
I guess that's the new law. That's enforced now.
That's the new truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that's really what happened.
It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's just. Yeah. You know, and that's the difference. Like somebody can say, like somebody can go into court right now and say, hey, I'm going to put a lien on this guy's property for whatever reason. And you don't show up. The judge's like, well, are you here? Oh, no, okay. You know, puts the gavel down, and it's like you said, you know, it's like, well, I guess you owe me $1 billion now because you didn't show up. Well, you know, we served you. Well, maybe I didn't live at that place. You know, it's like, well, we dropped it off at the house, and you know, we say we served you. And so now you got to fight through all that crap. But but that's not just. You know, but you're not operating in a lawful situation in the court system. You're really not. You know, it's a law of the sea kind of.
Then you get a
gold fringe flag.
What
stuff,
is just like the law of the land, the law of the air, like
right.
All this word salad of like be a good person, do what's right. I don't know. That's part of me is just like.
It's all a scam.
Sunset.
I mean, it really is.
Pistols at dawn.
Everybody understands that, though. I think more people understand that it is a scam. That this just isn't right. I mean, this is right. This is not righteous. This isn't right. It's not just. And hopefully that's all changing. I really hope so, because you cannot continue this forever without it just imploding on itself. It's a house of cards waiting to fall. Feels like it's falling. I mean, if you want to go woo-woo, I've been feeling it. September, October, I hear Bix talking about it. He's bringing out factual evidence of silver markets and through that. I feel it more in a woo-woo sense, just my gut feelings and just the vibes that I'm getting. You hear Cliff talking about it and his data, his short-term data that's coming out, that this stuff is going to hit the fan real quick. Something's going to happen, and you feel it building to that.
On the woo-woo thing, I sent Snippy some of my
and he's talking about all this
promoted
stuff.
tweets this morning, because he was talking about Christmas cookies, and how
Stolen.
I was getting.
My parents love stolen when the holidays comes. Yeah, they like the little stolen loaf,
Stolen. So before Stolen Loaf, a year or two ago, they were doing that Christmas log. There were a bunch of promoted tweets about the Christmas log or the Christmas cake thing. Maybe that is stolen. Is that what's stolen?
Kind of. It's look it up and what it is. I just know that what we buy around here, stolen, is it's kind of like it's almost like a fruitcake kind of thing, in a way. It's
well, so that's what kind of like this is.
It's not a processed fruitcake in the sugary. It's a little bit different. I mean, it is sweet, but it's a little bit different than a regular blocked fruitcake that you get. It's better.
Okay, so I sent you the promoted tweets of the Christmas. It said Christmas countdown clock.
Yeah,
and
the
it
Advent
was that
clock.
Die Hard building. Yes, of that man jumping out the building.
Looked like John McAfee with a gun.
It did look like McAfee.
Didn't it look like John McAfee?
Yes.
And he drops every day, like he's dropping out of the building, like when they jump out when Wall Street collapses.
But it was the Die Hard. It was like from the Die Hard movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it might have been that
what
character.
I was getting.
Okay, yeah, it might have been.
I was getting it was from the Die Hard movie that was a Christmas countdown, but it looked like McAfee jumping out of this building as an.
You know what I say to that? Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Okay. Then at the same time, I never get on Facebook, and I get this weird post with Keanu doing this Brooklyn bowling thing. I don't know. It takes me down this rabbit hole of. So I look at that, and it is this man jumping out of a building in Vegas. Guess when it's playing? At the Brooklyn Bowl. Remember the 5th of November.
Guy Fawkes.
There's something, and it's literally like this man's body falling out of that building. And then Snippy was talking about, like, be careful with the bathrooms. I don't know what that meant.
Yeah, it was some event coming up, and I missed which event it was because I was listening in the background.
I missed that too, but I just heard him.
Outdoor bathrooms, don't do that.
So
stay inside where it's safe.
Yeah, I was worried that so I tried to put together what I was getting, and I was like, hey, does this have something to do with your Christmas cookie thing connection? He was like, what are you? And he and I are like missing each other in the holidays.
I know, it's like different tangent. But, you're on this one and he's on that one, but maybe they're kind of connecting.
But I think it has something to do with each other, but I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, Trump doesn't misspell things. He's a very intelligent man. No. When he misspells things, it's for a reason. And when he puts stolen, not stolen votes, or anything like that, he puts stolen, S-T-O-L-L-E-N. It means something. What's it mean? Because he did it, 3 times or something?
I should have done my research. It's on purpose.
Yeah, it's a charm.
That's the other
almost.
thing.
It's the magic. It's released into the universe 3 times.
When General Flynn was speaking, he said, "Trust 3 times. Trust, trust, trust."
There you go. It speaks it into existence. I mean, you think about it. Make 3 wishes. The charm. It's do this 3 times, and then it's you look in the mirror, Candyman. The movie. It's all this 3s, the number of 3, that it activates the magic, activates the charm, in certain circles. It activates that thing into the universe. It's spoken into existence. Something to it. I mean, it's deeper than what we see.
Tell you something as soon as we're off this.
Okay, write it down. Stolen is a fruit bread of nuts, spices, and dried or candied fruit, coated with powdered sugar or icing sugar, and often containing marzipan. It is a traditional German Christmas bread during the Christmas season, the cake-like loaves are called Weihnachtsstollen or Christstollen. Interesting. Comes out at Christmas time. German. Always German. Always goes back to Germanic. Always goes back to the dark forest, the black forest, fairy tales of the Grimm brothers and, all these legends and myths, they come out of that area. The Illuminati comes out of that area. Weishaupt, it's all these things, they seem to be coming out of that area. I don't know why, but there's a lot of connections there.
So isn't it, I was trying to think of who I was listening to this. She said she actually felt really sorry for Bush Jr. because his dad actually hunted him in the German forest.
Yeah, you were saying that.
As a child.
One of the most dangerous game moments, by Richard Connell, I think is the author of that book.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I'm trying to remember who that was. And I wonder, how much of that. I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know all the evil.
No, and that's it. That's it. You get tastes of it in the movies, and then we just think, oh, it's just a movie. We're living through a movie. I mean, anything that you've ever seen that you can imagine that how horrific it can be, that's how bad it is. Because there's no limit to the depravity of evil people. I mean, they're going to go. There's never enough. It's like when we talk about a sociopath. It's never enough. I mean, it's just when do you stop them? How do they stop? It's when you stop them. They'll keep going. They will keep going and going and going and doing things that you can't even comprehend until you stop them. I mean, that's how just dark they are. I mean, they're giving over. So don't think that all the horrible things aren't possible. They are possible, and they do happen because human beings can do some very terrible things. And then when you get them in power,
disconnect from reality and
right. Somebody's got to get in the way. Is what it comes down to. Somebody's got to be that lesser magistrate. That person that gets in the way. You got to get in the way. You got to stop them at some point.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is putting that light on them and having accountability, and that takes the community to stand together and say, like, we say, not when one person says no to someone that is living in darkness or hiding in the shadows or doing evil or whatever, it's really hard for one person to stand up to them. But when the community does it together and says no, and we see you, and we don't allow this in our community, then that's when it stops.
Yep, 100%. And that's the important thing. And it takes the right person that somebody's going to listen to sometimes. And that's why it's important that someone, just stands up to it. Somebody that, people respect. They're like, wow, that person's calling them out. There's something to this. Vampire, how do you destroy it? Put them in the light. That's all you got to do. Put them in the light. They're done. It's over. It's the easiest way to get rid of them. You don't want to fight them in the dark and cut heads off, and, through the stab them in the heart and do all that crazy stuff. No, get them in the light. And that's over. It's done. They melt. Incinerated.
Yeah, I've seen several of these, like 34-year-old working at a school, taken into custody earlier today. There was a guy even in my town that was like 23 admitting to talking to 13, 14-year-old girls, having sex with them, tricking them, and I'm like, put their picture up there. Show everyone.
Absolutely. Show them, put them on in the light. Show them who they are. Put their name out there. And that's why, you got these databases. Here's the address. These people, this is where they live. And they want to know what we're doing all the time. Hey, listen, when the person that's violating other people's rights and, doing abuse, who are they?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a level of forgiveness for certain crimes, sins, that kind of thing. But, man, sometimes you make your choice. And there's some people that can't be rehabilitated. And that's really the thing to really be aware of. There is evil, and you got to vanquish it at some point. It won't stop. It just won't until you stop it.
Yeah, I think this big Hunter Biden, the Shokin stuff is going to come out. Maybe they'll take down, maybe that's their way to remove Biden, and then they'll try to put Kamala, and we'll see she's an anchor baby, and then we'll move on from there. I don't know how quick that'll go. I'm kind of over that. stuff.
Yeah, I know, because it's just all such a fraud.
Like, let's just go local and stop giving them so much attention.
Pretty much, because it's all just, figureheads that, we choose to obey, and we don't need to obey it if we have righteous people and good people, locally that say, no, we don't want it here. We don't want it in this county. We don't want it in this state. The other thing.
Unless you have a situation like Austin where their own police station is.
They've infiltrated and made their own little vampire city in the midst of, Texas.
And now they're backing out. So Austin Police Union, what is this? It says, police abruptly retires amid staff shortages and lack of police. So they're kind of eating themselves there.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Eventually they'll turn on each other, because there's, you can't sustain this thing forever. They want more money, they want more power, they want more this. There's only so much to go around before it's just, okay, this doesn't work, the whole thing's collapsing, and I think you're starting to see that. And yeah, let's see what the next chapter in this movie is, because it's going to get spicy.
That's what I hear.
I think we're going to find out in a few months, weeks.
God, surely not months. I mean, my goodness.
No, I mean, I think by November, like you're talking about, November 5th, I think September. I think we're rolling into the visible stuff now. We're seeing collapses, we're seeing things fall apart, and you're getting the tremors, of the big earthquake, that's coming symbolically. And I feel that. I felt that. I've been talking about it, and other people are seeing that and feeling that. I think we're tuned into that. There's only so long that this can go, and so many people that kind of went along with it just because, I got to protect my job, my pension, this. I think they're done. They're just done with playing the game anymore. And it's like, okay, now what? Now what are we going to do? But you got to expose the evil first and root it out, and then you can build back better in the right way.
At some point when you're supporting a job that perpetuates evil and you're still supporting the system, like at some point we do have to opt out. And when people stop showing up, then those jobs and systems comply to the people, and they say, like, then Bud Light stops supporting Dylan, the confused individual. Right. You know what I mean? As their
and you kind of root it out then. It's like, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired.
Right.
We can't do this. It's unsustainable. You're destroying our business. We've lost 25% of it. It's got to stop. We can't function this way. And so it's all part of that learning process. It's all part of that awakening process. And all it takes is for the people to say no. That's all you got to do is say no. Because we are the ones that feed all this.
To say no. Yeah.
Critical mass, and then it's over. Just say no. Don't participate. I do not comply. I do not participate. I will not follow orders. That's simple. And it goes all the way from the military to hospital staff to teachers to police officers to, everybody, and no matter how minuscule you think your job is, but if you feel that it's unjust, then don't participate. And there's ways not to do that. I mean, you can just, think about it. I use the example of a school administrator. I mean, you can take any fundamental, whatever you feel is right with you. But, as a school administrator, you can say, okay, I know I'm living in tyranny. I know they're going to clamp this down and they're going to pull the funding. Then nobody's going to be able to go to school. So, okay, yeah, I hear what your mandate is. And then don't enforce it. I mean, think of how powerful that is not to enforce it, not to enforce mandates, not to enforce the statutes that they pass. Then they lose all their power because these people think that they have power and they can project all this influence on you and all these orders on you, and then you just say, okay, in one ear and out the other. Just like you did when you were in high school, when you were a young kid. Your parents told you something, you're like, oh, okay. Then you go out and do what you want anyway. I mean, it's just like, okay, yeah, you think you're in control, but you're not in control. I'm actually in control. I'm actually making the decisions. And so every little action that you take, to undermine that giant machinery, to throw a wrench in the cog and into the gear, every little thing that you do, eventually it's just going to stop because it can't go on anymore because you just destroyed the whole thing with little actions. So think about that every day and everything that you do. You know, what little action can I take to just disrupt it and not participate in it and make it difficult for it to exist?
That was the motivation with the shop local. And I don't think we even realized how big that was, because,
It's huge.
during the pandemic, a lot of local businesses were really destroyed. But I think we really need to really get around that and think about that even more, and think about what our local business is. Who are we as a local business, as individuals, and how that was kind of Flynn's thing, was like reinvent yourself, or reevaluate your position in the community. And he gave people outs. He said,
Yeah.
I can't remember how he said it. He kind of said it like a little backhanded. He was like, and some people need whatever, all you can do is pray, and that's fine. Start a community group and pray.
That helps. It does.
And I don't think that prayer is weak. I think that that is a valid thing, but I think we need, there's a statement, I think it's in the Bible, love is an action. You can love your community with action. You can take steps and do things in action. And that's where, like, I'm trying to, like, see where the open doors are in my community, whether that's with my friends at my homeschool thing, or with people that I met at Bix's previous, when Bix was here before, or at the Team Mighty meetups. I've connected with some of them, and other patriots here in my local community. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? What can we do? Let's pay attention. I'm reaching out to my local city council people. I'm paying attention. I'm learning about how, like, oh, wait a minute. How did that just happen? So they gave and paid for their underground pipe work for this community, for these builders, which gave them, and they're doing it by charging us more for our water. Like, when you pay attention, you learn all these little things. Follow the
little
money.
tricks. Yeah, that's it. Follow
there
the
are
money.
little tricks everywhere, but you have to get involved to learn that.
Yep, because we can sit back and say, man, the bill went up. What are we going to do about it? No, just pay it, I guess. Or you can say, well, what am I paying for? What's this really going to? And then, you go to the council meetings, and I mean, they're perfectly accessible. You can go in there and ask questions, and they'll try and shut you down sometimes, but then they're guilty. And then you live stream it, and then you record them and you expose them for who they are. We've got tools and weapons to do that now. And it's not physical weapons. It's weapons of the mind.
Right.
That's the Alex Jones thing. It's an info war. It's an information war. And we use the information to awaken the mind. And pretty soon you're like, yeah, I'm not going to give my energy to this. This is ridiculous. These people are a joke. Why are they here? How did they get here? What's your background? How did you make, who was it? What's her name? Daddy-O, your former governor. Nikki Haley. Look at the millions that she's made since she left. I mean, and then you start, a bunch of defense contractors paying you. And they start looking at the organizations that, her and her wife, maybe there's something to that. Her and her husband have set up as far as becoming consultants, kind of like the Hunter Biden thing, consultants to these contractors. He's getting paid $500,000 a year to sit on a board, or, like, wait a minute, how'd you end up with $12 million? When you didn't have anything, when you were $1 million in debt,
and that's what Shokin said. It was for protection.
Yeah,
that they would put Biden Jr. on for protection on these boards, and everybody knew it. It was like,
they absolutely knew it, because they're buying influence, they're buying connections, they're buying part of the establishment, or an access to the establishment, and protection from not getting they're able to get a piece of the pie. When you got unlimited money, that's what happens. There's no sound money. We got opportunities to exit out of that. $25 silver. Come on, man. Come on, man. $25 silver. Come on.
I don't know anywhere you can buy silver in your hand for $25 an ounce.
I know, right? You might get it for $30. You go to a coin show, you can get some pretty good deals. But it's like, because somebody got it cheaper. They got a better deal on it. Somebody desperate, the weak hands gave it up. But it's like, if if you don't have any of it, if you don't have any method outside of the system, when the system collapses, you don't have any form of money, energy stored up like gold, silver, crypto. If you don't have any of those things, then you're completely dependent upon poker chips that are now worth nothing because the vampire casino collapsed. Stop. Just get out of it. Just say no. I'm not participating. I'll take all that energy. I'm going to move it into something else because it's not going to sustain itself. It's not going to exist.
And join Westwood and I at Stock Pulse.
I'll virtually be there. I'll be there in spirit.
I hope you're going to be there. Pimpy and I will be there, or that's the plan. As long as
that Digibug's going to have to go faster than 88 miles an hour to get to Las Vegas
and play. I'm sure I could meet you somewhere, and you can. I'm thinking about if they whip out the masks. Yeah, if they whip out the masks before now and then,
Lord.
like you and I can meet.
They're going to do it.
Wichita and drive from there or something.
Wichita.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find a path, the path of no resistance, and there are those paths out there to get there. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe Ben will go and bring the big wagon.
I can smoke in that.
You can smoke in that, and I'll drive with my head out the window, and you guys can all smoke it up in the back. Lord.
Oh, that shows you how dedicated Litecoin Lisa is.
You boys. Mm-hmm.
I'll smoke outside. Listen in the bar with the fans going, door open.
I know.
Sweating.
I know.
Sweating to death.
Well, I wanted to show up for the fan, but I am pretty wiped out. I had a pretty adventurous day.
I think we're all going through that. We're all being tested. I mean, I really feel that the key right now is to get through. Make it through the next day. Get through, because some people aren't going to be able to make it. They're not going to be able to handle it, and we know what the end game is, and it's just we got to be warriors and get through the fire and move forward and survive and, be there on the other side for people, to get through it. Because there is a better
thing too.
Yeah, though. It is. It's a wiping
whether
away.
That's people, relationships, things that aren't important that used to be important, a purging. Yeah, because I think about like our life is so different now than somebody posted a thing that said if you still tweet or retweet or something if you have the same friends from 7 years ago or something like that.
And how many friends do you have from high school you still hang around with?
Oh, yeah.
Do you even know?
I mean, I have I'm probably in contact with some from high school on Facebook. But
Thank God Facebook, right? That's like the only way. I don't
hang out with them, yeah.
No, they don't go to the Westwood bar.
Even my pre-crypto friends, we had a significant break at the time of, I would say at the time of COVID, but it really was part of my crypto experience too, because of the financial change of I don't value the same things. I don't care about the same kind of things anymore. I would rather spend time running around the country talking about freedom and how corrupt the financial system is and meeting real people, and that's what's important to me.
It is important. That's how I know everybody. A lot of the people in the chat. That's how I met you. I love Fever Flav. He's like, oh yeah, Westwood's going. Yeah, right. That's like, hey man, I used to get on the road. I did quite a bit. I mean, we did it in 2019, 2021. I was all over the place, man.
Every month.
It was like all the time. I was going. That's how I met so many beautiful people. And I mean, my end goal has always been, hey, I want to build a sanctuary here to where you come see me. I don't care to travel that much. I'd love to travel, but with all the BS that goes on, it's just until this thing changes, I'm just, man, I'm happy with the dogs at home. Come see me. Open door. Come see me when you want to. That kind of thing. But no, I used to travel a lot. Beautiful country. I mean, I love it. I like to drive. I don't care to fly. And, that's what makes it difficult about Vegas. I don't like the vibe there, but it's a long drive, man. And I don't want to fly, even though I can get a direct flight down the road. I
know. My thing is once they started talking about masks, because again, I'm like, the masks precipitated insane behavior with
Yeah, it's
people.
not just the
And
mask.
part of that was demoralizing other individuals because people stopped treating people like humans when they
they don't
started
see your
wearing
face. They don't
masks.
see a smile. You don't
Yeah,
see the expression. You can't get the vibe of humanity. You like shut it
right.
down,
They
and you
started
can't
treating
see what.
people more and more. They were already treating people like cattle. Line up. I mean, it
Take your
went from
shoes
like,
off
yes, it
on
went
that
from I'm
filthy,
your,
bacterial infested floor. Barefooted.
right,
It's like I wear a pair of
I'm
socks
your
when I fly,
client.
and I throw them
Like,
away. I will put them on. I'll put my socks on and wear flip flops through.
and
And
that's a
okay, fine. I'll
lot for
take my flip
Westwood to
flops
throw
through.
anything away.
I will. It is. It really is because you see my
That's a
clothes. I got
lot.
holes everywhere. My wife just said the
A
other day,
lot.
"You wore that out today?" I'm like, yeah.
He's like, it's plain.
It's hot. I need airflow. I get a holy shirt. Holy
I
pants.
know. Your
But
wife is a saint.
I know she's just like shakes her head. Buy you these nice clothes, you don't wear them. We're like the same thing.
We love her.
But no, I'll throw my socks away. I'll get a cheap pair of socks that have holes in them already. And try not to touch the skin. When I take the flip flops off, on the floor, and then I'll get through, put it back on, and I'll take the socks and throw them away when I get through. I don't want to put my bare feet on that nasty floor everybody's been touching. And give me a break. But wear a mask. It'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
It's crazy. Like that's where the common sense has just gone out the window. And I can't remember who I was talking to, and I was like, she said something about, oh gosh, she was a nurse or something, and we're talking about, your health history, whatever, and I was like, well, that used to be protected under HIPAA, and she was like, don't get me started. She's like, this whole thing has gone just
It's off the
total
rails.
insanity. She's
It's
like,
train
what I
wreck.
was taught in school versus what we were told and how to act, like, just was on its head.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and so you just say, all right, I'm done. I'm no, not doing this. Not doing it.
Mm-mm.
I'll drive if I'm going to go.
Well, and that's what I told Charlie. I was like, I'm just not, I would rather, and I love to drive. Like, I don't mind. Let's take 2 days to go out there. I don't care. We don't have to drive
Right.
all in one day.
I know. I would love to be
America.
able to,
I think
win
it's
RV.
beautiful.
Win
I
RV
know.
convoy, Lisa, because, I would love to just
I'm
stop
waiting.
and say, man, this is a beautiful place. This is what I did. Okay, when I first met you. All right. This was in Blanco, Texas. I drove there by myself, rented the car. I wanted a small car. They didn't have it. I got a van, so which worked out great because we throw all the stuff in it, And universe provides, no coincidences. But I'm like, all right, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop in New Madrid, Missouri, I think it is. And that's the New Madrid Fault. That's like the center line, And so we got a little museum, a monument. So I took my time. I stopped there. I stopped in Cairo, Illinois, because it's a really cool history of the city. How it used to be great. Now it's just totally run down and just awful. It actually plays a great role in the movie American Gods, or I should say the series American Gods, the book American Gods. Stars put it on. But anyway, there's a lot of interesting things there. Cairo, named after Cairo, Little Egypt in southern Illinois. You get into all that history of who was here before us. But anyway, no, I like to take that, so I map it out. I'm like, hey, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop there. I want to see these historical things. I want to stand on the river where the three rivers combine and I can see 3 different states. And I enjoy that. I want time to do that. I want to be able to do that, on my own time where I'm not
if
rushed.
I traveled by myself, I would do that.
I'd get there in a week.
Is not down for that. But
I love it.
I love like driving out. I've driven back and forth to Utah and California a couple times with Ben, and by myself when I was younger and whatever. Yeah. And I love driving across New Mexico when you get into where it's just beautiful, like flat mesas, and then you can see like these huge stacked I don't know what they call. I guess they're called mesas. I don't know what they're called. These mountains, like, and I have like the whole American theme swell up in me of Purple Mountain Majesty as we come into Arizona.
The magic
like,
that is America.
The whole thing, yeah.
It's a very magical place.
Yeah, I would love to, and I'd love to stop in Flagstaff. When you go up because you have to go up through Arizona through the mountains, and there's actually a national park where it's like snowing in the top, and they're like, watch for wild horse crossing. Like, I want to stop there in the snow in Arizona where it's snowing and watch for wild horses.
want to see the
But I'm
goats like
usually like,
walking down the mountainside.
oh, hurry, stop. Yeah.
Be able to, I want to see the Sasquatch, that just looks at me in the eye,
I want to be able to stop. Yeah, I drive too fast. I know, but in fast cars. But I drive fast so that I can stop and enjoy beautiful America because I love America and I would love to stop. And now that I'm doing all my thrifting stuff, now I'm like obsessed with like, oh my gosh, I would love
Just
to have a big
imagine.
RV and drive and be able to plot like beautiful places to stop and like shop and then see like the scenery and watch the sunset. I'm obsessed with sunset. Like my kids are making fun of me. They're like, "Oh, you've gotten turned into an old lady, mom. Like you're."
Oh, you appreciate the things that are valuable and important and hit your soul, and that's really what it's all about. Finding those
I
things.
love beautiful things.
Yeah, yeah. Beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That is all you know on earth and all you need to know. I mean, that's the John Keats poem, Ode on a Grecian Urn. And I mean, there's so much truth to that, and it's still taught to this day. I mean, in every literature class that you're ever going to take, it's an important thing because it harkens back to, what are we here for? That boils it down. Beauty is truth. Truth is beauty. Truth, beauty, I think it was. That is all ye know on earth. That's all you know on earth and all you need to know. It's just beauty is truth and truth beauty. I mean, and when that resonates with your spirit and you get that sense of wow, look at this artwork that's in front of us that God put in front of us. I mean, that you're just alive and you awaken, and it's like all this other crap doesn't matter. All this fake money, all this tyranny, all this garbage. Go back to nature and see it and the beauty of it, and seeing the beautiful in all the things. I mean, it's just so good for humanity. And I hope to get to a day to where we can express that more and enjoy that more and activate ourselves again and be, connected again to something greater rather than something artificial.
Well, I think we're passing through that lion's gate right now, and that's what we're learning to focus on. We're tired of being angry about stuff. We're tired of being frustrated or whatever, and it is time to like choose the good things in life. And I think those are family, beauty, love, friendship, relationships,
it's all the same,
stuff like that.
same essence. It's the same essence that we came here with in our spirits. And we're just trying to get it out through all these layers of the onion. That core. That makes you cry when you cut it. And get into it. That's inside of all of us. And it's that emotional thing that peel away all those layers of the onion. And get to that core that's just an emotional core. And
it's so funny. You keep saying onion. I'm like drawn to this onion pattern right now. This onion pattern.
Now you're going to see all kinds of promoted tweets with onions.
I know. Well, right
onion
now,
rings, Saturn, onion rings, Saturn. What's about Saturn, Saturnalia, and all this. Now you're going to start looking at Hollywood. You're like, oh, yeah,
I know. The Saturn
I'm spilling
thing.
it. I'm spilling it. And it's leaking out of me right now.
Leaking out. I do have a new video coming out that's going public today because my items went public on eBay at 5:00. So every Monday I do a first dibs for Patreon. You guys get first pick, and I will ship one item for. If you buy it, I pay the shipping on one item, and you get the week to decide. But that video that I shot for Monday for Patreon that you've had all week to look at just went live, or it's going live in 8 minutes. And those items are live on eBay now for general public. So check that out. There's some really cool stuff in there. So new items on my little Mighty Merchant eBay shop. I'm going to go have dinner with my husband, and then I will see you guys later on Faces.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Honestly,
Are you wiped out?
I might be wiped. I mean, I did these. I'm not used to doing.
I don't know.
Doing these long videos, and the last few days in the heat, and I'm just kind of like, I just want to go chill in the air conditioning.
All right, we'll go chill
sit
in
by the
AC.
dog. So I may not do Spaces tonight. Let's leave it at that.
All right.
If I do, follow me on Twitter, and you'll see it if it comes out. Who knows? Maybe I'll get motivated and recharged.
All right.
I'm spent.
Love to you all, and we'll see what happens over the weekend. It's supposed to be some sparks.
Sparks. Interesting choice of words. Trust yourself.